Speaking on top of the game, speaking on top of the game, test, test, test. Let me know, Wafu. How about now? Test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3.
I'm here.
Alright, let me tweet it and we can get started then.
Only half dead.
Alright, so I think we're gonna go ahead and get started then. What do you think?
Wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's okay.
And your Skype is on screen, but now it's I'm afraid everybody saw your real name for a second there. But,
Shit!
so, I decided this place is a little easy, so you know what I'm gonna do?
No, what are you gonna do? Oh, did you turn on Wafu mode?
I'll do that when we actually get to, some place that has the...
Don't actually put on Dark Omen.
I'm gonna do this for this area and this area only. As you can see, there are 5 sources of damage in this game, much like there are 6 sources of damage you can deal. There are 5 sources you can take, and there's a different defense value for each one. What this does is give us -1 defense to all of them, so we're gonna take 1 more damage from everything.
This is a bad idea.
It probably is, but like I said, this area is easy, so we need, something to spice it up a bit. I actually
don't remember this area too well.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's a very early game sort of area because we're still early in the game despite all we did last session.
I remember the boss of this. It's the one where you have to throw bombs underneath the variable.
That guy's actually pretty fun. There's a guy on Discord, Quaff, who's been doing his own, I did not know they could kill these things. He's been doing his own nightmare run. He says the Master Sword Swipe actually really makes this boss a lot easier than it would even be on normal mode, which is kind of interesting. And the gimmick in this area is you gotta kind of babysit these guys until they drill these blocks away for you. And then you can kill them because you don't like them.
They just cause annoyance for the most part if you leave them around. There's no point. This mechanic actually does come back later on the warship, though.
Yeah, by later he means, like 50 hours later. Like,
yeah.
literally. Oh, and, you can, use this guy to get a chest, but, I'm not sure we really need to do that.
I'm a big fan of this music, too.
Oh, yeah.
I hear it a few times in here.
I believe this is one of the original songs from Newgrounds that Zephyr found.
It is indeed a Newgrounds song. This one shows up in one of the I Want to Kill the Guy too, which is where I recognize it.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna need to do my first bomb jump here. There we go. Okay, so let's... I actually kind of forgot how to do this. I think we're going to need to go back to the start. Okay. Yeah, here's what you do. So, like we were saying last time, you can actually delay the amount of time it takes before a bomb's fuse is lit, and that's what you need to do there to explode that block and get this guy down.
Did you turn the game audio down again? It got quieter.
I shouldn't. Let me check after. Well, I can check right now. Let's actually turn the in-game audio up. Let's see if that works. Can you hear it now, or is it or what? Because last time I noticed that we could basically only hear the Unreal guy, and I figured I should, turn the game audio up somewhat. Oh, and right, these guys respawn, so I didn't actually need to restart this screen last time, but hey, it's okay. It's a learning experience.
Killing spree. Double kill.
Okay. Yeah, this whole area is fairly straightforward, since you've already kind of gotten a handle on combat.
Yeah. It's kind of just getting you used to the idea that you're going to be doing stuff outside of gates, more or less. Wow, that did a lot of damage.
Holy shit.
So yeah, these guys almost kill me in one hit now. That's pretty cool.
Do they really do that much damage? I don't remember that. That's very scary.
It really is. So I'm gonna stay up here and let the guy, fall down, because I don't want to get around him. Alright. And to the left here is a secret area, I guess you could say. It's only got items in it, though, so we're not going to go there. Oh, it's these guys. These guys are awful when you don't have any good weapons to deal with them. There we go. Oh, God.
I'm amazed you didn't get killed by the first spinner. And then you fell. Yeah. Classic.
It's okay, these things happen. And yeah, enemies can and will just walk off pits, so use that to your advantage. Okay, I'm taking this thing off. It's not a good idea.
Oh, right, that's why it did so much damage.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to increase damage by quite that much. So let's not use that. Oh god. So the enemies here are actually kind of challenging when you can't take many hits from them. That's something. And here's a pretty simple puzzle. You just gotta, hit the switches so the guy can cross along. And that's a little tricky, but not too bad. Oh,
the hardest screen of this place is actually a puzzle area, but we won't have to do it because no items.
Yeah, that was the secret area I mentioned earlier.
Oh, poor little guy didn't deserve it.
He did. He deserves it for what his friend did to me on the last screen, to be honest. There. As this sign says, that rock will respawn, so you can't just blow it up and then ferry the guy across. You gotta do it while he's actually walking there. And yeah, that's just a way to get back. Oh, and we're already at the boss. That was quick.
And this area is pretty short. I guess I don't remember it very well, so.
So this boss is. So you're not supposed to be able to hit this boss until this guy takes out the thingamabob for you, the red tile. But you can hit him with the Master Sword beam pretty easily. And the whole gimmick here is you're just shooting bombs down at him while stuff spawns, and you want to kill the stuff.
Fun note: the gold time on this guy is requires like throwing a bomb and then throwing another one while letting the other one run its full timer. With full bomb damage, it does like 750 damage with one bomb.
Yeah, bombs do ridiculous amounts of damage. When you're new to the game, they can seem kind of intimidating to actually try to use like against bosses and enemies, but they do lots of damage and are very useful tools, so you kind of want to get used to it. I know in Raukow's LP, he basically never used bombs ever, and that led to his downfall in many places, let's say.
Raukow's LP is a series of downfalls.
It really is. Oh god, I can't believe I'm actually having trouble with this.
The last section of this is fairly intimidating when all 3 red blocks show up.
Yeah. And let's get rid of that thing.
That was a great bomb.
It really was. Okay. Basically, the whole thing here is managing how much shit is on screen. Because those things do not only kill the little mech that's helping you, they also damage you, so you really just want to get rid of everything as soon as you can. And that's hard to do with the DPS I have.
The bomb amulet is actually really good on this fight, but
Yeah.
we'll never
That
see that item.
That decreases the recharge time for bombs. But obviously we're not going to get that. We're not going to get anything. So I think I'm just going to cheese this. I know I'm not going to cheese this because I got hit. But with this...
An interesting dynamic that staying at full health so you can use the sword wave.
Yeah. Oh, I killed him. I did not mean to do that. Okay.
I wonder if the other ones are like contextual, like the Zelda sword swing is. Does he need to be at full health?
Well, I'm kind of hoping they're, more broken than this, because we're going to need all the help we can get.
Yeah. I actually had a recent thought, which is that you're not going to have dash recovery as a skill anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Which is going to be pretty shitty.
So it's time to just kill this guy by doing that. Okay. And that was an Achilles kill, I guess. And I got the achievement for beating him quick, so that's cool. And that's how Jerry rolls. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. This game saves flags for beating bosses immediately, so if you do something like that, it's no big deal. And there's an item over there you need Morph Ball to get, and we're not going to get it, but it's one of the more well-hidden items, because you probably won't think to go back here.
Yeah, this is one of the last ones I got, because I never thought of this.
And now the area is kind of reclaimed, and this is going to be your central hub for the rest of the game. And you've got classic NPCs like Craig and Gary, and I know Kefit's a big fan of Gary in particular.
Gary is such a nice guy. Likes bridges. That's most of him, really.
And I kind of forgot what we're doing next, so I'm reading through this cutscene real quick. Okay, yeah, we have to go to the west side town. So there's like, houses, and we're gonna see this house again. As the deck says, it's an important house. So keep that in mind. Oh, let's get another achievement, why don't we? Just like in Zelda, you can piss off the chickens, and just like in Zelda, they'll attack you.
Oh, fuck your shit. It's what they'll do.
And there's another achievement for killing the chicken, but they have quite a bit of HP, so I don't recommend getting that achievement, even though I did, so...
Are you going to show off Mr. Saturn's balloon?
Yes, I will, because otherwise we actually have no reason to even go over there. And here's a shop. We can't buy anything in it. We'll never be able to buy anything in it, but here's a shop. Up top, there is actually a bottle expansion, which the bottles are what you use to for your healing from the vending machines. But I do not recommend buying the bottles. They are a waste of money, in my opinion, and you're better off putting that towards items. because the equipment in this game is actually quite good, and you're gonna want a lot of it. Oh, and here's a Yoshi. On the normal mode, you have to pay to get the cookie from him. But here, we don't have any internet, so he'll just give it to us for free. And we got an achievement for helping him feed his family. Kefit never got this achievement, so Kefit did not want the baby Yoshis to be, fed. So Kefit is a baby Yoshi murderer, is what I'm trying to say, basically.
An evil person,
Yeah.
truly. Even though we didn't give him any money, technically.
Yeah. And here's the boss gallery. Let's explain the boss gallery real quick. So basically, it's a time trials against the bosses within era, let's say, setups. As you can see, I'm pressing A, nothing's happening, because I did not have the link set when I got there during the actual game, so I cannot use it here. So you're forced to fight them with your current stats, including HP, so it's a lot easier to beat them, but you still can't use any abilities you wouldn't have there. And every time you get hit, it adds 5 seconds to the timer. So you're not only trying to beat them quickly, you're trying to do so without getting hit. You have anything to add, Wafu?
Yeah, for the most part. That's a pretty decent roundup. The boss gallery is pretty well designed in general because of the 5-second hit timer. Because normally, it wouldn't really matter coming back to them with just tons of health for the most part, but it incentivizes you to actually learn them very intimately.
Oh, let's not go over there, because those are still unlocked. Spoilers.
Wait a minute, are they really?
Yeah, I guess
Oh,
it just,
shit!
I guess it just ties it to your save. So, yeah, you didn't see anything. By the way, there are 3 times for each boss. Bronze, silver, and gold. Wafu is the only person to have ever gotten all golds. So if you want to make a name for yourself, get all golds, but you'll still be second.
That's how I got my name as the Abomination.
And here is a Nightmare exclusive NPC. I hope you can read the text, because I'm not going to read it out loud.
Wow, of course it's here.
Okay, I would have never figured out how to use the Belmont ability, so it's good I talked to this guy. Oh, that sounds like...
What the hell? That's so weird.
Okay, so I'm guessing for the Metroid it is in fact the power bombs, and there's not going to be one for the RPG set, which is saddening. But it doesn't actually tell us what the Castlevania one is, so that's cool. We're going to find that out.
Hold that thought. I'll be right back. I have to disappear for just a bit.
Alright. While Walter's there, I guess we're going to watch this amazing cutscene. And we have no context for it, because I've been skipping everything, but I assume you guys don't mind, because, you're all hardcore DT3 nerds, you have all the lore memorized and all that. Anyway, so basically what we're doing here is we're being introduced to a new mechanic, which is controlling both Jerry and Claire on the same screen. Now, Claire here, she still has no ability sets, so she's kind of useless for actually, attacking stuff. But she is not useless for walking around and activating switches. Oh, and one thing to note, these shields from the inactive character will cancel all projectiles. As you can see, it's canceling this fire. I actually didn't know that could happen. So I do not remember the correct route through here, so it's going to be a learning experience, relearning experience. I think you're supposed to send Jerry upstairs first, so we're going to try that. Now remember, only Jerry can attack at this point, so I'm going to need to use him to actually kill enemies and get around and stuff. But don't worry, for those of you who are fans of, To Love Rue and Black Cat, Claire is going to get her chance to shine soon. And it's not really obvious you can push these. I think you should have communicated that more clearly. We don't need that one, but we will need to push another one somewhere on this map. And, pushable blocks. Oh, I think we do need that one, in fact. Let's see. Yes. It's actually kind of weird. This platform isn't moving far enough over. Oh, I'm actually very, very, very smart and can just jump. I thought you could jump, you couldn't jump as high as you can jump, but you can jump as high as you can jump. For a very Ralco-esque way of phrasing that mistake. It's okay. Like I said, I'm not used to only having a single jump anymore, so I was like, what the hell am I doing? Okay, so this screen also introduces another mechanic we're going to see put into use throughout the game, which is keys. We're gonna take Claire back up top and activate this with her, so.
I have returned.
Okay, so I was just explaining this sort of mechanic. Basically, we've got these switches. They activate or unactivate, I guess you could say. Inactivate, deactivate is the word I'm looking for. They activate or deactivate the corresponding color of walls or floors when you've got a character standing on them. So we're going to put that into use.
Oh, this is also your first introduction into switching characters on the same map, as far as I remember.
Yeah. And this map is a bit unique because at this point Claire can actually not attack or anything. Okay. So I'm not sure if I'm going to need Claire or Jerry up here, but we're going to find out, by God. Oh shit.
This mechanic is you're going to see a lot of, too, in various difficulty, especially one specifically in the RPG Nightmare Gate.
Oh yeah, there's one map. Let's just say it has its own mini map to give you an idea of how complicated it gets. Okay, we want to have Jerry up there, in fact.
It's so strange watching gameplay without the dash after having used it for so many hours.
I know. No dash, no double jump. We're pretty pathetic at the moment compared to what we become.
Everything just seems so tame in comparison.
Oh.
Killing spree. Double kill. Multi-kill.
Oh god. So I'm very close to dying right now. I hope I don't die, but we'll find out. Okay. Let's lure this guy. Let's lure this guy over first.
This whole area is actually really unique because you have to use Jerry to progress through the combat segments.
Yeah, it's something you actually don't really do again, I don't think.
No, I don't think there's anything else like it because it's not very long or directly after this where you get Claire's offensive set.
So here's another quirk you gotta be familiar with. When you switch in midair, they stay. Character stays exactly where you put them. And you're gonna wanna
remember
be
this.
aware. Yes. So the first time I did this map, I did not notice these spikes and walked directly into them and died. So that's always fun.
That's pretty good.
Okay, and that was basically a tutorial because in DT3 even the tutorials can kill you. And here's X. We're not gonna care much what X has to say, but we can now access the next gate. But before that, we're gonna go back and finally do the Mario Nightmare Gate. Fortunately, we can just warp straight to it.
Man, poor X. He doesn't deserve what happens to him.
So, Waffle, you want to explain how the Nightmare Gates work?
So the Nightmare Gates are, quote, optional content, quote, and that they come directly after you finish a world, and they are very, very ramped versions of the gates that you just did. Not, like, directly rip-offs, but they're super difficult version, like, you know, similar thematically.
So, yeah, as we can see, this is building on the Muncher map from the original right now. They're basically like semi-optional, let's say, harder versions of gates with recommended heart levels that are maybe a little bit above what you'd have right after beating a gate. So for this playthrough, I'm gonna go actually wait until I have the recommended hearts and go back and do them then, because I'm not gonna, have heart pieces to actually help me with getting.
You're not gonna be able to do that. You're actually not gonna be able to do that for most of them, though.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do that for the Mario and Zelda gates, because that's all I'm gonna be able to do it for. And you cannot actually kill the Lakitu on this screen. He's very unfriendly, because as you may notice, I have in-era weapon sets at the moment, which means I have no weapon sets.
If you get truly walled, you can actually come back with a bunch of hearts and just kind of blast your way through it.
Yeah,
but that's pretty shitty. Don't do that.
It's also not something we're going to be able to do anyway on this playthrough. Okay, let's wait for these guys to turn back around.
This is a pretty infamous set screen.
Oh shit. Okay, you gotta kind of wait for the bullet bills there. Wow, that was a great jump. And occasionally Claire and Jerry will bitch at you if you die too much, and it's kind of funny.
Extermination.
Oh shit, I did not mean to do that.
So I really recommend using Jerry for this part in particular.
Yes, Claire is the one bitching at you here, but you should not be using Claire, because Claire's hitbox does not play well with the Mario enemies, let's say.
Double kill.
Oh god. And I actually don't need to wait there to start, because like I said, there's a dead zone.
Double kill.
As Castell recently streamed himself doing this gate. It was a bit of a tragedy.
Oh shit. Okay, this is harder than I remember it being, but we're gonna get past it. This is just, basic platforming. I think. I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. I was actually trying to delay when I should not have delayed at all, was the problem there.
It's just a hardship.
Yes. Hey, I even got a heart. Okay, I did the same thing again, but this time I survived, so it's all good. And this screen probably looks a bit more intimidating than it actually is, but it's still kind of a pain to do without dash, as I demonstrated right there. Oh shit.
I like how that whole Koopa Jump section just has some munchers to fuck with you at the very end.
Yeah, like, you probably won't die there, but you could if you are not paying attention, and that's always fun. Okay. You gotta really pay attention to how the chain balls are positioned here. Oh, nope. As you can see, I would have been hit if I had stayed standing there.
I really actually like this screen because there's like very careful spacing between the chains for the most part.
And I jumped right into the Podobo, but that's okay. We love Podobos. They love us. Jump there. Wait. And you gotta activate this thwomp and then jump past. Okay. And there we go. That's the halfway point.
And by the way, for anyone who has not played this game that is looking at this, actually do these. When we say they're semi-optional, we mean they're not really optional at all, but the game tells you they're optional.
Yeah, why don't you explain the 3 endings the game has while I'm concentrating on this?
Okay, so there is one ending that you will receive upon not doing any, or not finishing the Nightmare Gate. Or, well, you can finish the Nightmare Gates, you just have to kill the Abomination, which is the thing that the boss that unlocks after doing all of the Nightmare Gates. And if you don't do this, you get the bad ending. This bad ending sucks. Nobody likes it. Don't worry. And don't bother trying to see it. Or at the very least, just look it up. And the second ending comes from beating the Abomination, which then unlocks the War Master and the penultimate boss. So just doing the Nightmare Gates gives you 3 extra bosses. This gives you what we have now dubbed the normal end, for the most part. And there's a after you get the normal end, you will see the clue to get the true end. Let's say.
Yeah. So basically, the Nightmare Gates add a significant amount of content to the game just in and of themselves, like from actually doing them. But they also unlock quite a bit of content that you're gonna want to see because you just get the bad ending where literally the entire world is destroyed permanently. If you don't, oh, you can actually get on this first cycle. I don't know why I was waiting around for it.
It's pretty XD. It's just kind of there. And of course, the big reason to do it is that you can't actually fight War Master without doing it. So,
yes, and you want to fight War Master, like you really, really want to experience that fight in your life. Okay, so let's not hit everything in the world this. Oh God.
and as much grief as I many times give the plot of this game, the actual true ending of this game is pretty satisfying to see. So
Yeah, you end up getting pretty attached to the characters over the 70 hours of playtime you spend with them. So it's nice to see the whole happy true end that we. Well, we won't spoil it just yet. And I am a super player, and I cannot collect any of these coins because I'm also a nightmare player. So, who do you think is the boss here? Because it's Kamek.
spoilers.
Yeah. And you can use Claire here, but you don't want to use Claire here. So, we're going to
You
use...
really don't want to use Claire here.
Yeah.
I love how the reward is just cheese mocking you in the background.
Yeah. So I'm doing kind of speed strats, but I would actually kind of recommend trying to do this even on a casual playthrough, because the first half of this fight has some nasty randomized and timed elements that can kind of go badly if you let it drag on too long. So you want to hit the staff while it's up there at the top of the screen if you can at all. Oh, shit. It does have a hurt box for Jerry, so it's not like a sure bet to hit it, but you're supposed to wait for it to come down like that, but you can just hit it anyway, because the hitbox is wonky, and the gold time for this boss actually requires doing so. And the second phase is easier, so I'm gonna actually play it as it was intended to be played.
The first half of this fight is actually pretty hard.
Yeah.
For the most part, if you're doing it the normal way.
Like, if you're trying to Achilles this fight, it's definitely much easier to try and, just do the semi-intended strat of hitting the staff at the top.
The big thing with Kamek, and I find, is that in the second phase especially, is that the bullets are really slow, but they don't look slow. So it mind games you a lot into where you actually are safe.
So one thing you can always want to aim them away from you, because it will aim right at you, and you want to get it out of your way if at all possible. Oh shit, I died right at the end. That's bad.
Please don't die right at the end. This is exactly one more time that you died on Kamek on your normal playthrough.
It really is. And there's kind of a tricky jump right at the start there, which I'm doing for no reason, because I want to, but it sets you up for a good position to do... not that. Okay, let's...
I didn't even think that jump was possible until I saw Kefit do it.
Yeah, this strat is stolen from Kefit's insane 29-second kill of this boss. Okay.
For the record, the goal time is like 50 seconds.
Hey, yeah, that sets you up real nice for just to do that and jump on it. Okay. Okay, we made it through the first half without getting hit, so this should be no problem now.
I was pretty impressed with Kamek when I first got here because it's a very simple boss and you only have jump at the moment, but it's pretty fun and fairly intricate doing it the normal way.
I think on Achilles especially be a really nice boss because it kind of reminds me of a fan game boss, if that makes sense, and I think it'd be fun to, kind of play it in that style. And again, we're going to try and stand over here so it aims at us. Okay, good. And you'll notice that I'm actually running under those fireballs with Jerry, because his hitbox when running is amazing, as I demonstrated earlier by running under that spike, actually. Oh.
It's actually such a good thing to know. It'll get you out of so many jams.
Yeah. And that lightning is aimed too. And there we go. That wasn't it. I probably should have tried to do that Achilles, but whatever. He's not a hard boss. He's a fun boss, not a hard boss. And I got some cheese in the normal game that's a heart piece. And here's the place that gives you lore about the abomination, aka Wafu. And you can get some great lore if you care. And we can get some cheese. And I guess the instruments were not replaced with cheese. That would have been bad. So
should have been fancy cheese, fancier types of cheese.
So I'm going to take a brief bathroom break, and then we'll get back and go to Castlevania Gate.
Oh, Sacred's here. Sacred, hello. I type fast, I'm sorry. My new mechanical keyboard is also very loud.
Alright, I am back. So, let's get out of here and head in the direction of Castlevania Gate. So we haven't really talked about the overworld of this game much. Do you have anything you want to say about the overworld, Wafu?
The overworld is kind of hard to comment on it in this playthrough because most of the overworld contains items and, you know, ways to get them for the most part, and we aren't going to see much of it. Now it's more like direct paths to the areas. But some areas are much harder than others, I'd say. And overall, while I did give a bit of grief to the game for having a lot of collectibles in the end, I do like how the overworld kind of expands to your new movement abilities very, very well and very satisfying. So
yeah, one thing I like about the overworld maps is they do a good job of feeling expansive, you know, kind of open, unlike a dungeon, but without being, you know, just gigantic and filled with random pathways that you're not really sure where you're going or whatever. Because one thing to note about this game, the resolution, I think, is not even 640 by 480. So Zephyr can have enough room to avoid camera shenanigans. Like, say, let's take the Mega Man X series example. That's a game series with some very severe camera issues vertically. Like, we're talking instant death vertical stuff that you can't see off the top of the bottom of the screen. And I believe DT3's resolution is like 512 by something. Don't quote me on that. Waffle can go check if he wants to. And it's wide enough and tall enough to avoid any camera shenanigans, but at the same time it's small enough that Zephyr's not really compelled to make these gigantic sprawling screens filled with nothing. And that's something I really appreciate.
yeah, I think the very, I don't know, a lot of Metroidvanias especially really like to fill the rooms, as they say, with visual gunk that never end. Like Hollow Knight, for example, which is something that we recently played, is like there is some neat atmosphere to it, but there's so much visual information on the screen at all times. And I think DT3 does a good job at making it clear what can be stepped on and what isn't, especially.
Yeah, DT3 is a very visually clean game, which is quite an accomplishment for something, done entirely with sprite rips. It's nice. Like this area in particular is very pleasant looking. It's using tile sets from the Mickey's Magical Quest games on Super NES.
Honestly, I would never know. If I didn't know in advance, I would never have assumed that this is just pure sprite rips. It's so well done.
Yeah, everything fits together very well. Like, I guess like maybe in the town you can tell it's a bunch of sprite riffs. You got all these weird looking characters who really don't belong together, but otherwise it does a good job of maintaining consistent atmosphere. And we got kind of a stream killing effect on screen right now. Bear with us.
Oh,
there we
distortion. Distortion.
And those bees are kind of annoying, but once we get the Mega Man power-up, spoilers is a Mega Man power-up, which, we spoiled it back in the town anyway, but we're going to be able to kill those guys in like 1-2 hits, so that's good.
Oh, Sacred's watching, by the way, which he's never seen past Helmet Head, so this is probably a new experience.
Sacred is like the master of Helmet Head, let's say. Oh, and there's a skill point up there, but it's a cheese, so we're not going to get it. And can we? Okay, we can actually kill this Lakitu.
That is one of the sad parts about Nightmare Mode, which is that there's a lot of interesting stuff and kind of mini puzzles to get to a lot of the items.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see them.
I definitely encourage people who are interested by this playthrough to go play it for themselves before we spoil the entire game for them. Because we're gonna be doing, we're gonna skip past a lot of stuff. We're just gonna do, basically optimal strats for most things, and it can be more fun to, explore for yourself. And for example, here, this is one of the few items I actually can get on a Nightmare playthrough. Waffle, you still there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Waiting for the stream to catch up.
Oh shit! I actually died. That's bad.
I remember having a lot of trouble with this screen in particular when I first got here.
Yeah, I could come back to this screen later with the Mega Man power-up and kind of trivialize it, but we'll do it the YOLO way, because that's how we roll. Almost, but not quite.
Oh, 12 damage off the thorn bushes. That's brutal.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, the screen is a whole lot easier if you have, the late game movement options available to you, but you can get through it perfectly fine your first time through, and we're gonna try and demonstrate that if I ever stop being bad, which, may not happen. Okay, there we go.
We're so close to my favorite gate, too.
Yeah, we'll get there. My favorite gate is by far the Mega Man one, because I really love the Super NES X games, and it does a great job of, kind of riffing on them, I guess you could say.
You're not wrong.
And here's one of the very few items that still exist on Nightmare Mode. It's an item I'm actually not going to be able to do anything for now. You equip, there's a set of 3 of these items, and you equip them to be able to do a set of special challenges, and we'll see those later on.
The Cursed Trials are, wow, they're going to be fun on this game mode.
I don't think they'll be that bad. They're pretty easy to avoid, actually being hidden anyway, because, by default you already take 2x damage in them, so...
That's true. I think you're gonna have to do it like Achilles style, though. I don't think you'll have any health to take one hit.
Yeah, I might not actually even be able to take even one hit in those, so that'll be fun. And the reward we'll get for that is the item finder, which is very, very useful on this mode.
It'll tell us where all the cheese is.
Yes. But hey, it's an upgrade for Chow, and she needs some time in the spotlight too.
Well, for now.
Yes, she'll get some later. Don't worry. Okay, so this is kind of annoying. Bullet Bill hop. You actually need to do this because you don't have double jump or anything. And I'm doing really bad, but that's okay. And much like
Also,
wait.
oh, go ahead.
And just like in real Mario, if you're standing next to a bullet bill, it will not fire. So go ahead, Wafu.
Oh, I was actually just gonna mention that. Interesting thing about this game is that Zephyr is very intimate with pretty much every playthrough and everyone that's ever played it. It's one of the cool things about the game being so unknown for the most part. That it's so cool, in fact, that I actually got an ability on one of the optional bosses nerfed earlier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which one? Can you say it without spoilers?
The ending of the fourth super.
Yeah, because the second optional boss that Zephyr added in the recent, let's say, DLC, has not been beaten by anyone except for Zephyr. Not even the testers. So Wafu is basically the first person in the world to offer any sort of input on that. And Zephyr's just on Twitter at Zephyr Burst. You can see how to spell his name on the title screen. And he's a real friendly guy. He's always willing to talk to people who are having fun with the game, or take input or bug reports or whatever. So yeah, that's a real nice aspect of this game. And now it's time for clairvoyance, which is a very bad pun. Oh right. So I actually can't do the super special nightmare move yet. It doesn't look like. So we'll wait until we get the daggers.
What's the input? Down, down, A?
Yeah, down, down, B. And I don't have the
okay.
daggers as are on B, so. And
Oh yeah, one of the testers did beat it on assist mode, apparently.
Oh, assist mode, huh.
Yeah.
And here's the classic Castlevania courtyard. This is actually kind of notable in DT3 because of how few screens in DT3 have nothing on them. Like, actually, a screen where you just walk through it is, like, very rare.
Yeah, I never actually thought of that before, but this is actually a pretty rare thing. Like, the only other screen I can think of that's like this is the approach to Hex.
Yeah. Hex in general has some very special cinematic moments, let's say.
Yeah.
So, Wafu, you might want to look at my heart counter.
Yeah, that's all we're getting.
Yeah.
That isn't changing.
And basically, this is a Castlevania game. As you can see, it is Castlevania 1 right now. But it's gonna... Hey, look, you can see the cheese through the wall here. That's a sprite error, I guess, because it's not meant to be more than one tile big.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Basically, you're gonna want to whip the walls here, just like a real Castlevania. This gate has a lot of hidden items, a lot of items you're gonna have to come back for later, just like real Castlevania. That's actually not much of a thing in the rest of the game, but it is in the Castlevania and Metroid gates for sure.
It's actually interesting that most people... I mean, there's actually almost every item in Mario and Zelda can be obtained your first way through. Which doesn't... and there's going to be a lot of ways you look at them and go, there's no way, but there's a way.
So basically, this area is kind of meant to get you used to both the enemies and Claire's attack method, which is the hair whip. So there's nothing really hard right now, but there's two sections of this gate. Basically, there's the retro Castlevania and modern Castlevania. And as we go further and reach the modern Castlevania, the difficulty is definitely going to ramp up. And there's some cheese up there. You need to double jump to get it. Like I said, you actually do need power-ups from other gates to get the items here.
I believe that's a holy water upgrade normally? I don't remember. Or hard energy.
Yeah. Both things we're never going to see, which is bad. And we're already at the first boss, which is a large vampire bat, which is a vampire bat that is large, so...
Exactly what it sounds like.
Oh, and you might notice I'm doing 105 damage per whip strike. Max DPS for the whip is in fact a straight 200. So that's just how little damage. I'm doing basically half damage of max DPS, and we're never going to get any improvements on that. Okay, so that's taking way too long. Let's actually try to kill this guy instead of just, poorly dodging his attacks.
I mentioned this earlier, but I'm a pretty big fan of Castlevania in general, and so this whole gate hit every note for me. It was a treat, especially when you hear Isaac's theme. Isaac.
So yeah, one thing Zephyr did with the gates was he actually went back and played the games he took inspiration from, just to see how they work, so he could actually kind of adapt the mechanics and design around how the original worked. This guy has a fucking lot of HP when you have no DPS. Holy shit!
I didn't realize you take so long. Also, the hair whip is it's a weird thing to get used to after using the Jerry Sword Slash, and it's normally, I'd say, the preferred weapon for most people to use when normal damage is available, because it has a very, very long range. So
yeah, as you can see, you can stay pretty far away from this guy. You don't need to get up close and personal like with the Master Sword. And I think I'm gonna actually leave this boss encounter and get some health.
leaving Vampire Bat.
Yeah, that's how we roll on Nightmare Mode. Okay, so now we're back at him with full health. That should make this a little bit easier. Yeah, but I did not expect this guy to have so much goddamn HP. Holy shit. And much like Jerry, Claire can hang in midair with her hair whip as well. It's not as easy to do as the Jerry juggle, though. And this guy actually does the same tail effect as Hammerhead. When you see those green sparky things around him, you wanna, that's your cue to get the fuck away. To be a bit vulgar for no real reason. So this guy is actually really easy.
Yeah.
I should not have died, but
Why'd you even go back for help? You're like acing him now.
Well, not anymore. There we go. As you can see, you can do Claire's own version of the Jerry Juggle. It's a little bit harder to do because the hair whip has its own unique timing for the animation, but it's not too bad once you get used to it.
Also, the hitbox on the hair whip is rather small the farther down the hair it goes.
And now we're into the second part of the retro Castlevania, where things are ramping up a bit. So Zephyr kind of introduced us to each enemy type in the last area, and now he's putting all together at once.
And we go from the first two Castlevanias, and now we slowly go into Super Castlevania.
Yeah, like I said, this is the retro Castlevania, which is, I guess Castlevania as a whole is kind of retro now because there are no fucking games, but.
Feels fucking bad, man.
Yeah, but basically when we say retro, we're talking about 8-bit, 16-bit. Oh wow, I actually died. That's embarrassing. Hey, this is Nightmare Mode. These things are gonna happen. So one interesting thing is that Jerry's Master Sword starts at 100 damage and only goes up to 184, and Claire's starts at 105 and goes all the way up to 200. So like even just minor increments of damage can make the difference in this game. And like the how much did the boost items give? 5, 10, and 15%.
5, 10, 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's actually a significant amount. It's going to make a big difference by the end of the game, combined with the actual upgrades for the weapons you get. And we're not getting any of that, so our DPS is going to be pathetic.
Also, each character has talents which increase their respective damage by 10% just from putting skill points in them. We are not getting those either.
Yeah. So we're like
Basically,
I said,
just sad.
this is as much damage as we're ever gonna do. I believe this is in fact the most damage you do with anything except the bomb. So you better get used to this.
I think actually.
Wait, the holy yeah
the
the
juice,
Yeah,
and juice flame mostly.
Oh yeah, and these guys are not from Retro Castlevania, but that's okay.
Killing spree.
More cheese.
Oh, you can do that with the. That's the nightmare ability right there. You're not supposed to be able to throw a bunch of them like that.
Oh, you got to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, Quaff was saying it actually makes quite a bit of difference and he wishes he could do it. Oh, damn, that is actually pretty damn nice. He wishes he could do it in the regular game, too. And
Oh, that's gonna be pretty good, actually.
yeah. I think this is probably going to make up somewhat for the lack of DPS. But it does still consume the amount of ammo you would need to throw that many normally, so...
That'd be beyond busted if
Yeah.
it did. If it only
I
consumed,
can
like,
definitely
a
see why this is not in the regular mode, because it would just absolutely tear through everything.
You'd just rip through War Master with it, honestly.
Oh yeah, even War Master would just bow before this. Yeah, like I said, there are... Oh, and these guys are weak to knives, by the way.
Ice Ast don't missiles also do more damage, but I'm pretty sure that base missiles with no DPS increase don't do much damage at all.
Yeah, they don't. They're pretty shitty, except for, their actual, attack type, which you can't get by any other way except the Gravity Well. And the Gravity Well is, let's say, an advanced weapon.
You could say that, yeah. Take some finesse to wield, let's
Yes.
say.
And here's some Castlevania platforms, and I almost got hit off them, but I did not, so... And I'm just gonna ignore that guy, because he's not friendly to me. Trying to look for items, but I don't need to do that. So yeah, these guys absolutely melt to the dagger special, that is great. Oh, and we got some Medusa heads. These
Shame
Medusa...
that there isn't one juice too. Just are like 20 juices out at the same time.
Yeah. So these Medusas can have a random message that is kind of funny. I don't know if we'll see it, but I highly recommend playing the game yourself just to find out what it is. Oh shit. Okay. So this is a screen where I'm really going to be glad I have this nightmare ability because it makes these guys die in, let's say, a lot quicker than they would otherwise.
Yes. I remember this room being pretty hard actually. This kill room because of the Medusas at the same time.
The input for this is a little bit finicky, but
This is another good example of one of the first straight combat challenge rooms too, which Castlevania actually has a lot of.
yeah.
Killing spree.
For the most part, there's quite a section of
Oh, God.
ways the game tests you, and you will slowly see more combat-oriented ways of challenging you. Like Metroid and Zelda don't really have too much of it, but Castlevania has a lot of it, and so does Mega Man.
Yeah, Claire's weapon set is kind of inherently more suited towards melee combat. I think that's why a lot of people choose her over Jerry in most situations. Like, basically, just having the hair whip makes a lot of difference, because you don't have to get up close and personal, like I said.
Also, being in melee range makes it easier to throw bomb deuces, rather.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. I don't know why I had trouble with that, but I did, so there we go.
Only 60 hard energy.
And Death came and talked to me, but we don't care about Death.
We will care about Death.
Eventually we'll care about Death, but not right now.
You might really care about Death.
So Death is kind of the dash tutorial boss, and that means quite a bit, and we'll get to that in a bit.
Death is kind of the one of the Boys Become Men bosses.
Yes.
He's the first like real big challenge that is gonna test your ability to use the dash and play the game.
And also not use the dash, which is the important part. Yeah. And over here, you can actually go over to the right there if you have the dash, but we don't have the dash, and we don't need items anyway, so. There we go. So basically, the gimmick with this section in general is using your 3 methods of attack to hit these switches and reorganize the room. And now I can actually, kind of rape these guys, let's say. Oh, and these guys are kind of hard to see if we're not playing on full screen. So you should probably play on full screen, because, I don't know, it's a good idea.
The juice, I think most people... Wow, juice. This is a lot of damage. But the juice is kind of one of those weapons that not a lot of people get initially. Kind of like the bombs in a similar way. Which is, it's not exactly intuitive how to use them properly. But they're a huge DPS item. You will see.
You need a very specific timing to throw them quickly is what it is. Oh, and the flame does significantly more damage than this hitting people with the canister. How much do they actually take to fire? They take 12, and we have 60 hearts, so we can only ever fire 5 of them. That is kind of amazing.
Oh, God.
So basically, these are one of the most important sources of damage on War Master, the final boss. And about that.
Oh, you are gonna love you some Jerry. You're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to learn Jerry's strats whether you want to or not.
Yep. And that did 8 damage, which is bad.
Wow.
So yeah, we just pretended that never happened. Because, like I said, if you have full HP upon entering a room, you'll still have it if you kill yourself. It goes to 75% HP if you have lower than that, but not higher. So that's a real nice feature, let's say. Okay, let's get this meat. And this area is much easier with double jump, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I can take 3 hits, so we should be okay, right?
Yeah, it's plenty of health.
Okay, what this thing does is continually refreshes your ammo. Any sort of ammo you have is refilled by standing in these things. They're not that common, but if you see one, you know you need some sort of ammo gimmick. And here's the advancing wall of death. It's going to be a friend throughout much of the game.
I love this screen because it's such a ROM hack of Super Castlevania-esque that you kind of think of, and I don't know, it's just so amazing.
Yeah, like I said, the whole
and there's
gimmick
such
here... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh.
I really like how it kind of makes you again like how it was earlier, go through all your attack types to hit every switch. And there's it's very, very, intimidating the first time you try and do this, but you get so ahead of the wall and there's such a tempo to it.
Yeah, it's not really hard once you figure out what you're supposed to actually do, and it's been a while since I did this, but I have it down now, so it's no big deal. One thing to note is that the dead zone seems to be kind of dampened or lessened for these things, so you can hit them from off-screen when you wouldn't be able to hit enemies off-screen from the same distance. I'm not really entirely sure how the dead zone in this game works, but it works somehow, so we're going to go with that.
Yeah, I never figured that out either. What's the actual range of it?
And there's a piece of cheese down there we're not going to get. Kind of a tricky jump there. You have to actually hit that with your hair whip while going through. And let's see how far this can get. Oh, this actually goes all the way across the screen, so we're not gonna get killed by it today. Oh, and here's some stuff Kevit didn't notice. If you're watching this on VOD later, Kevit, I just want you to know I'm thinking of you. These are grappling hook points for when you get the grappling hook, let's say with Jerry, which will be a bit.
Would never guess, huh?
So there's a boss up next, and we're going to take a brief break and then get back to do him. So, one sec.
For those curious, Kefit like wandered around looking for the item here for an eternity, and for some reason he just couldn't see or notice the Jerry hook shots.
Okay, so we just walked up a set of stairs, and when we walk up a set of stairs in Castlevania, who is at the top, Wafu?
Dracula.
Yes. And now it's enough talk, have at him. And this guy is actually going to introduce us to a mechanic we haven't seen yet, and we'll see it in just a bit when I do not get hit by him first. And okay, so you see his weakness is shifted there. He's weak to pierce at the beginning of the battle, but once you do enough damage to him, he actually stops being weak to it. And many bosses throughout the game are going to make use of this mechanic. So, and like I said, I believe this is actually the first instance of it.
You're gonna really want to get in tune with switching on demand, let's say, because even the last boss makes use of it, and there's less of a visual tell, or though there's more of a visual tell, let's say.
Okay, and he throws wine glasses at you like in I Want to Be the Guy, so don't get hit by them.
Ice is wondering if you can do the special while in the air.
Yes, you can.
Oh, there you go.
So this guy is like very easy.
You gonna beat him already?
If I don't screw up horribly at the end, yes.
This last
there
phase
we go.
is very silly.
Yeah, basically this guy is not too bad. He is, I would not call him a tutorial boss, but he's more used to your weapons than anything. If you just take it slow, he's not a threat. A lot of things in this game that you just, or any game really, you just gotta take it slow, take it easy, not try to rush or rush in there and get your ass kicked, basically. So I was actually not planning to do fast here, but we still have a little bit of time left before I think my voice dies. So I'm gonna progress a little bit more. How about that?
That sounds good. It's only been an hour, about. So.
Yeah. That said, I am coming home and doing this after work, so I'm a little bit tired. So we're just going to do this next area, get to Death's floating castle, and to call it a quit there because I think Kefit actually stopped there in his playthrough, and I'm Kefit Jr.
Nobody wants to be Kefit Jr.
Dylan is Kefit Jr.
Yeah. So this is the Symphony of the Night section, as anyone can probably recognize by the music in particular, if you are a human being who has played Symphony of the Night before, and if you aren't, you're terrible.
Alright, one note real quick here. So there's a hole here. This is one of the very few unmarked screen transitions in the game. And the message here is science can reward you sometimes. That is a Raoul reference. He often jumps into pits, claiming it is for the sake of science. And we're going to be seeing actually quite a few Raoul references throughout the game, because Raoul is the main reason anybody knows that Distorted Travesty even exists, and helped popularize it, such as it were. And his playthrough of this game is, again, very worth watching if you have the time for 160 episodes or something. It'll help you understand the memes, and that's very important.
Memes are life. There's going to be another Raoul reference within this gate.
Yes. Oh, and one of the death messages is that we're not going to see because I have the game over screen turned off. Is that was a demo, wasn't it? Raoul has a habit of saying whenever he dies, "Oh, that was just a demo," and that became such a meme that he actually ended up creating an original character called Demo. She is a one-eyed Cyclops girl, and that was redundant, but she's a Cyclops girl, and she makes an appearance in DT3, and we'll be seeing her much later.
I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah, you know the water temple?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. That makes
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So we'll say hi to her later. And you actually have to use kind of, in another game would be a very obscure mechanic to hit this. You have to actually know how high the flame goes up. And that can be useful to know in some combat situations later as well, to kind of cheese them in a semi-intentional way, I don't know.
This is actually a pretty cool, I think, of using the Holy Fire to actually reach to the top. It actually mind gamed me for a long time.
Yeah,
Never thought of it.
Like I said, in another game, I don't think anybody would have you do that. This is DT3, Zephyr's like, hell yeah. He wants you to really get the most out of every mechanic, or else he wouldn't introduce it. And I'm just showing off here. If you don't have the two gyms, don't go this way first. So the first half of this gate was, very linear, just platforming challenges, since it was riffing on the 8-bit, 16-bit Castlevanias. But now we're into the 32-bit era, and that's so many bits that we can have multiple paths.
Oh, this is the section of MacGuffins, and there's a lot of MacGuffins in this part.
Yeah. I actually kind of forget the way to go, but it's not a terribly complicated area, so we'll figure it out. There's not going to be another Dylan episode. Because like I said...
This isn't true. Go ahead.
The Forest Temple is actually one of the more complex puzzles in the game.
Never thought of it, but it actually is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was trying to hit that guy through the ceiling, but that didn't work. And as you can see, I was kind of spamming the holy water into the skeleton like that. Like Wafu said, that is actually kind of hard to do. You need to learn the timing for that, because you cannot just mash the button, or Claire will stand there like a dumbass doing nothing.
The thing about holy waters is that they can only ever be 2 on screen at any point. So you have to hit the next one just as the next one, actually, disappears and does damage to the enemy.
So here's a shop. We don't need anything from the shop, but I'm just gonna get that screen transition, because we always want the screen transitions in DT3. They are your best friend. That's putting it mildly, even.
It's a good idea to always run into a room just to kind of quote save your progress, so that if you need to backtrack for an item of some sort, you'll come closer to where you need to go. Let's say. And you've already, beat the screen.
So here's a good demonstration of the immense hit stun on the whip if you can time it right. You can just make enemies melt. Those guys are quite difficult on a first playthrough, but since I know the exact timing to stun lock them, they go down quick, especially since I have the dagger special now. And this is pointless to note, but I have 256 deaths at the moment. And 256 is a number all video game players should be familiar with.
No, is that there's actually, again, something we're never going to get, is that there's a talent to increase the hair whip stun, I believe.
Yeah.
And we're never going to see that. So this is all you get.
It's still pretty damn good. I was actually surprised I could lock those guys so well with the default stun lock.
Oh, this screen is pretty interesting. This is a very interesting combination of the bone pillars and the Medusa heads, which is lots and lots of kind of stuff coming at you as you kind of go to the right.
I believe this is the screen where you get an achievement for beating it without getting hit or dashing, but I'm not going to do that. Because this is Nightmare Mode, and Nightmare Mode makes you... Oh! I bonked my head against the platform. That was amazing. Oh, I got the Senpai Notice Me message. They'll randomly say that when they hit you, and it's a very cute little message, I guess.
Very appropriate, considering.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Zephyr actually did say earlier when I was watching the stream of Zero that he did notice all the anime avatars playing his game.
Yeah, there's been an influx, let's say, of anime avatars playing his game. But hey, we're the only ones, you know, obsessed enough to actually see it through to the end, so... Oh, the Medusa heads are weak to knives. I did not realize that.
Us and select people on Ralcow's forums.
Yep, like, basically, that's not exaggeration. That's basically the demographic for this game. The people who have actually beaten it. A few people on Ralcow's forums and, you know, me and people I hang out with. So,
You'd think, like, just the notoriety of being the longest Metroidvania would give it more, you know, like, showcase.
Longest, like, not even the longest Metroidvania. It's straight up one of the longest games ever made. Because, like, this is not an RPG. There's no grinding. There's no side quest. You just actually play the game for, you know, a good 60, 70 hours. It's frankly unbelievable that one person made it, but at the same time, it couldn't have been made by a committee. It couldn't have been made by some big team because there's such a personal touch to everything. There's so much polish and care put into it. It's really impressive that Zephyr made this on his own, but at the same time, you can tell that he did make it on his own with, you know, help from the testers. It's not an entirely one-man effort, but we'll see more about that later.
The inclusion of testers and feedback seemed to really add a layer of polish that wasn't there in DT1.
Yeah, some of the testers have been around since DT1, but even the testers don't really like DT1 and DT2. They had some less than kind words for it in the chat for Kefit's stream at one point. I believe one of the testers said that DT2 was lacking fun, which is a bit harsh.
Even Zephyr himself said that there's only like one good boss in DT2. I don't even think Zephyr encourages people to play his older games.
They can be kind of interesting if you want to see like the roots of DT3, but I think DT3 is a much better version of everything they were trying to do, and like I said, it shows his growth as a game designer. And we're gonna get this cheese because I dubbed this the Zephyr cheese. It represents Zephyr.
Gonna collect Zephyr and just bring him with us.
Yes, he'll always be with us now that we have the birds on our head. So fortunately, these ghosts do not actually respawn like they do in real Satan, I say, Symphony of Night, and it would be kind of bad if they did, but they don't. So that's yeah, Satan. Speedrunners call it that, and I've actually kind of dabbled in speedrunning Satan myself. I cannot actually do a run of it or anything, but I can beat it in under an hour. Any percent. I figure that's pretty good for, you know, just casually messing around in a game that I like.
You can tell this isn't truly Symphony of the Night because it does have Claire backdashing over and over again.
Oh yeah, I was kind of hoping that the Nightmare ability would be the shield dash. Wouldn't that be something?
Claire just runs into death with the shield up and kills him in one hit.
Yes, the Alucard shield special ability would also be a very good Nightmare mode pick, because, you know, it just makes every boss die instantly. That's one interesting thing about Symphony of the Night, really. There's so much unique stuff in it that you'll never see because the game doesn't really tell you about it. Like, every shield has its own unique ability, and you have to do a kind of finicky button combo with the shield Erotica to even see them. The game doesn't tell you that. There's no way to figure it out without looking at a guide or something. And yet they have all these unique animations, unique effects. It's just crazy the amount of work that went into that game, I think, even now.
Why is that even there? It's so confusing, but at the same time, it's impressive.
And obviously this area is based on the marble gallery part of Sawton with sorry, I'm going to keep saying Sawton because that's how I'm used to referring to it. So don't go over to the left yet. There's nothing for you there except cheese taunting you that you can't get quite yet. Okay, don't use holy waters on that guy.
The Marble Gallery is in here is really cool, I think, just because of how the enemies are laid out. They're always interfering with your movement in some way, so you always kind of have to figure out ways to get past them. Like this kill room here.
Yeah, that kill room. That kill room is a good example of what I was talking about earlier. With every kill room is pretty unique. They all kind of do their own little things that aren't just, you know, kill these enemies. You still there, Wafu?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And here's a chest full of cheese. Hooray.
Wonderful. Was this just the cheese room?
And, okay. And there you can see a little bit of Claire and Jerry bickering. And they're a cute ex-couple like that. And their relationship is kind of explored over the course of the game. It's actually a kind of a unique It's a unique relationship dynamic, and I actually kind of like it. And you can't hit that right yet. So up there is a heart piece. I mentioned that because on my item collection run through this gate first time playing the game, I somehow missed it. I'm not really sure because, you know, it's like right on screen as you come into this map.
Killing spree. Double kill.
I hear Wafu doing Wafu things.
Do you really?
Okay. And you actually need the morph ball to get this. So do not come back to this gate until you have basically everything. I believe you actually do need all movement abilities to finish collecting the items in this gate.
Is there anything you need double jump for?
Actually, I think you might not need double jump, but you would definitely need air dash and what's the proper name for the hook shot? It slips my mind.
Chain strike?
Yeah, strike chain. Strike chain. That's it.
Strike chain.
Yeah.
Oh, you need double jump for the upgrade at the beginning.
Oh, that's right. Ah, I almost fell off there. That would have been bad. So yeah, this is based on another part of actual Sawton, which is the clock tower sort of area. It has a really badass song. And this is a reference to the Flash game You Have to Burn the Rope, which is some sort of weird, like, postmodern take on modern video games. I'm not really sure what the joke in You Have to Burn the Rope is to this day, but there's definitely some sort of joke there. And you should go Google You Have to Burn the Rope and play it, because it'll change your life.
I don't think I've played this.
It's like...
Am I missing something?
Yeah, you are. It's like not even 5 minutes long, so you should check it out later. And here's a nice, fun little gimmick. You have to... I think I'm just going to get some cheese up here, but that's okay. I love cheese. Oh, actually not. Can I get through? Yes, I can. Okay. Oh, and that set of platforms down there is directly taken from Sutton, actually. That's kind of a cool little Easter egg. And I'm going to need dash and double jump and shit to get over there, so we're going to go back over here.
There's cheese everywhere.
Yeah, like, there's actually kind of a complex puzzle to get down there for the chest, but it's just cheese. So again, I encourage you to play this game for yourself and do it getting actual items, because we're skipping over a lot of the content in this run, and it's not the best introduction to the game. If you want a better introduction, but don't want to play it yourself because you're a horrible person, check out Kefit's run, which is, he uploaded it all to his YouTube channel. Just search like Kefit Destroyed Travesty or Ralcow Destroyed Travesty on YouTube, and you'll be able to see their runs. And that's kind of a troll. You don't want to cut that. You want to cut this one, though.
This is a pretty dickish troll right
Yeah.
here, because it kind of introduces you to cutting it in the screen before,
Yeah.
and then you come here and you're like, oh, of course I have to cut it. No.
Let's see. Right. You want to not cut the second one, cut just that one. And leave that up so you can do that. That's actually kind of a more complex puzzle than I thought. That's actually a pretty neat little setup there with just these 3 little basic items. It's neat. And there's another.
This is another one of, like Zephyr kind of introducing things earlier and then putting together in very peculiar ways.
Yeah, and he does not waste any time doing this. Like, one of the things that I feel defines DT3 compared to a lot of games is how he always takes mechanics as far as they can be taken. There is very little, you know, kind of tutorializing. He just expects you to do some pretty advanced stuff right off the bat, and I think that's actually really cool, because one thing that I'm looking for in a game is, and this is going to sound like like some sort of pro gamer or nerd thing, I'm looking for a challenge. And I feel like a lot of modern games do not really provide sufficient challenge in what they do with their mechanics over the course of the game. Like, say, Shovel Knight. It does not really evolve over the course of the game because it doesn't really introduce anything new. Although it does a very good job of tutorializing, it doesn't really do anything with what it tutorializes. And here in DT3, we don't have any of that. It just moves straight from one mechanic to the next, and it gets as much mileage as it can out of them, basically. And that's a kind of tricky jump there. So you have anything to say about? You have anything to say about this aspect of DT3, Wafu? Because I'm interested in your thoughts.
I'd agree. For the most part, like, you could always say, you know, you can ramp up difficulty in modern games with difficulty settings and stuff like that, but my biggest problem with that is that settings or difficulty settings in modern games are always fucked for the most part and don't implement difficulty in a way that's good to do. It's always just like, you know, mobs take 200 million hits to kill, and you take 1 hit to die. It's not difficulty. It's just not interesting, or, you know, ways, or, you know, doesn't do anything with the mechanics that are in the game. And, you know, many games tutorialize stuff and then just forget about stuff like that. Like, that's a very, very common thing in AAA games, especially modern day. And the reason why I'm not DT3, there's only 8 inputs. I played many games before than that for the most part, but there's such a depth to them that they can be explored in so many ways that I think it just shows most games are just lacking in creativity.
Yeah. And the VOD that's going to be, or stream that's going to be kind of messed up because my internet was fucking up, but I hope you could hear everything Wafu is saying, because I basically agree with all of it. So, if you notice me pausing there, I was checking my internet, and it looks to be back to normal now, so let's move back on. And I really hope it wasn't too garbled what Wafu was saying. And I have literally 1 HP left, so let's get rid of that.
LP is wondering what we expect from the Abomination.
You know, I don't think the Abomination is going to be that bad after the first optional boss. I'm used to long fights now. The first optional boss in DT3 is a very, very, very long fight. You can expect to take like 10 minutes for your first time, and that's not 10 minutes of tries. That's 10 minutes to beat him from one try. So
God, the first optional boss is brutal.
yeah,
He's fucking brutal.
I actually really ended up really appreciating that boss, but it's a brutal slog the first time you go through it. There's no other way to put it. Okay, so here's the classic Castlevania staircase room, except it's not actually stairs, but you know. And this is another room you're going to come back later to with Jerry when he has the strike chain.
Apparently my voice did get distorted in the middle. I got garbled with your... Dude, I was so proud of that speech. You ruined it.
I'm sorry, Wafu, but I hope everyone could hear what Wafu was saying. But basically, DT3 is very creative in how it utilizes its mechanics. Stuff comes back when you would least expect it. Like 50 hours later, you'll have a mechanic you forgot about come back and wreck your shit, and it's great.
I think a good example of that is the stasis, like where you kind of hang a character on a color switch that you do in that stage that you did earlier,
Yeah.
and that comes back later in the fucking warship where you have to do that to get through hex rings.
Yeah. And so my internet is really pitching a fit at the moment, so we're going to get the dash boots, and then we're going to show them off, and then we're going to stop for the night, I think.
That works.
Yeah. Because we're already basically at where I said we were going to stop anyway, so no big deal. So, right, I need to actually set the dash. So there's several different options for how the dash works, and you can kind of customize it to your liking. You can set it so you can double tap to dash. Actually, you can't set it so you double tap with dash. This does it when you press up and hold up or down and also jump. So that's kind of a weird setting. I don't like it. Right is forward, so there's two dash buttons. One is left, and one is right. Or you can set them so one is forward and one is backwards. I do not like having it so one is forward and one is backwards, but I believe that's how Wafu plays. So it's a matter of personal preference. I have that off, so now whenever I press the R1, I'm always gonna jump to the right. So press R1 there, jump to the right. Press R1 there, jump to the right, back. And there are 3 distinct dash states, which is forward jump, back jump, and then the air dash, which we don't have yet. Air dash can only go forward; it cannot go backwards. Anything to add, Wafu?
So the dash, there's so much to dashing that it's really, really hard to fully explain without seeing it in context in this game. The dash is probably the most explored and ridiculous mechanic in this whole game, from a simple, distance closer with iframes. But basically, you won't see it yet, but Claire's and Jerry's dash differ in huge, huge ways. There's that, as you see, that Claire's goes really far, and importantly, she gets air when she does dash. And this is important later when you get the air dash, because she can go into an air dash in mid-flight, which is very useful, where Jerry's is small and compact and it's in the animation for longer. The iframes on the dash are 20 as far as I remember, and you can make this 23 altogether with the talent and the ring. So there's actually ways to improve it later. Yeah, and you have the dash meter, of course, that limits you greatly.
The iframes in the dash are absurd, and in any other game they'd be very overpowered, I think, but this is DT3, and like we were saying, Zephyr expects you to make the most out of these iframes. There are so many puzzles that force you to use the dash, so many enemies that expect you to be able to just absolutely master it. It is a great mechanic once you get used to it. I highly recommend playing around the controls to find a scheme that suits your playing style, because if you don't, you're in for a bad time, let's say. Oh, and this sign over here was added in 1.5.02, I believe. There was a bug here where you could not proceed with the gate because he set the flags wrong, but it's okay now. Yeah. So, yeah, the dash practice room is not very good. I'm gonna show off one more thing. So there, look at the top left of the screen. You see the dash meter. It's basically like it's stamina in a game we're not going to name, except it depletes in increments and refills not in increments. Let's say, and sometimes this is going to go up faster. Sometimes it's going to not go up at all. But for the most part, this is how it's going to be. You can get an item to boost the recovery, but we're not going to be able to do that because this is.
Oh my god, it's so slow.
Yeah, so this is what we're getting. I hope this does not pose a problem in future challenges, but we'll see. So, okay.
It's so slow.
So,
oh god.
Like I said, I'm having internet issues, and I was planning to stop around here anyway for now. So, we're at, I think it was about an hour and a half stream. I think that's good enough for, you know, after work and all that. So, let's go back to this title screen, and I think we'll call it a night. How's that sound, Wafu?
Yeah, it sounds good. It was a good stream. Productivity.
All right. So again, Kefit told me I had some mic issues. I listened to the VOD afterward last night, and yeah, you can kind of hear my horrible mouth noises and all that. So I ordered a new mic that should hopefully improve that. That'll be here on Friday or so because you know Amazon shipping and all that. And if the sound is still not loud enough in game, I can fix that. And again, my apologies for not looking at chat, but I'm very focused on the game. I have it in full screen, and it's just I can look into maybe putting the chat in the VODs, but I'm very much a newbie to Twitch and don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, again, thank you for watching. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Thank you to Wafu for his commentary, even as it got distorted, and that was a travesty.